Chad Varga was a high school All-American in basketball who went on to star in the Big East Conference at the University of Pittsburgh. After college, Chad fulfilled his dream of playing professional basketball. Then, at 25 years old and at the peak of his career, Chad realized that his life had much more to offer than just dunking a basketball. Now Chad is the founder and CEO of the Chad Varga Company and has established a national reputation as a team communication expert who has an undeniable ability to relate with all students. He has spoken to more than 3 million people throughout America and has been a featured guest on many of America's major television and radio networks. Chad was named one of 6 up-and-coming leaders in America by New York Times best-selling author Dr. John Maxwell, and has also been nominated as one of the real richest people in America for his work with students. With all of that said, Chad's real story is about survival. Often abandoned and abused as a child, he was able to overcome what seemed to be insurmountable odds and is now inspiring countless others to do the same.
Everywhere I turned, you know what? It seemed like there was one word that was chasing me my whole life. Do you know what it was? It was failure. I was in 17 schools from kindergarten to high school. I was told I was an at-risk kid. People looked at my circumstance. They said, you're going to be a statistic. There's no possible way you can succeed, Chad. Anytime you have a dream in your life, the first thing you can count on is for somebody to come along and tell you what you can't do and what you're incapable of. And if I'd have met you at this point in my life and you would have looked at me like you're looking at me now and you would have said, Chad, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? I promise you I would not have told you that I'd be standing here in this school and giving you a motivational message. And here's why. Because I had tunnel vision. I was pretty focused. Here's what my answer would have been. I would have told you I'm going to play basketball as long as I can. I'm going to make as much money as I can. I'm going to retire. I'm a big kid from Detroit. I was going to move to Florida, Disney World, ride roller coasters for the rest of my life, eat the little Mickey Mouse ice creams, and that was my big purpose in life. Listen, until I had a moment that changed my life. Now, I'm a big believer in moments. I think there are moments that come into our lives, and sometimes we don't see them coming. We can't forecast them. But here's what I know for certain, is one moment in your life has the ability to completely alter and change the direction of your life. For some of you, you don't know it now, but I promise you this morning is going to be a moment for you in this assembly. A lot of times, the principal and the staff, they want me to come in and talk about success and do the assembly in the gym and spin a ball on my finger and jump up and dunk and talk about success. And I've experienced a little bit of what I think most of you think is success. I've been on the cover of several magazines. I've played with some of the greatest basketball players in history. But I didn't come here today to talk to you about success, and this is where the atmosphere in this room will change. I came here today to share some things with you that you would never know about me. See, there's one thing that each one of us, you and I, have in common. Do you know what it is? Every single one of us have in common. There's one thing. We don't get to choose the homes we're born into. So my parents eventually went through a divorce because my mom was unfaithful. My extended family, we thought for sure my dad would win custody, but teachers remember back then, they gave custody to the mom 99% of the time, and so my mom got custody. And those first few years of my life, before any Sports Center highlights and all the stuff, those first few years of my life were some of the worst years of my life. Let me give you the visual. We lived in Taylor, Michigan on Clifford Street. Our house was the party house. I'm not talking about like Fridays and Saturday nights, a little music bumping, that kind of thing. Literally, there was a party going on at our house every single night of the week. I saw drugs hidden in the ceiling, trafficked in and out. Eventually, my mom went to prison for 2 years for drug trafficking, you know. I saw my mom doing things that no kid should ever have to see a parent doing, right? It was never easy, you know, so I'll give you the visual. Little Chad Varga, I'm running around, my little sandy blonde hair, I got my diaper on, right? I'm totting around the living room. You got to understand, when guys are partying in the living room and adults are having a good time, and there's kids around, the kids become a nuisance. So what these guys used to do, and a few million people have heard it, and I've done it on the talk shows, what used to happen is these guys, they wanted to get me out of their way, so I'd stop messing up their good time, and you know what they did? They'd mix hard liquor with Kool-Aid. And they'd give it to me to drink as a little kid, and I remember I would push it away, and I'd run into the kitchen where my mom was sitting at that table. This is my mom, supposed to love me, supposed to nurture me, care about me. I'd jump up on my mom's lap, she's drinking her tall, long neck beer, right? I remember little things. She used to scoop me the beer suds with a spoon. I thought it was cool. I'd splash in the suds, and the suds would fall down the side of the cup, and I thought it was cool. And after a little while, I started feeling a little funny, just enough alcohol content to make me feel funny. And then you know what my mom would do? She'd give me like a bag of cookies. And she pat me on the butt and she'd tell me to go to bed. I thought she loved me, was giving me a treat, right? But I realized standing here today that she just wanted me out of her hair too, so I did what I was told. To you, it's a story. To me, I remember running back in that room, and I shut that door, and I jump up in my bed, and I pull my little NBA sheets up to my neck, and I'm pounding those chocolate chip cookies, right? Chocolate smearing on my face, crumbs falling on the sheets. And I get full, and I take those bag of cookies, and I drop it off the side of the bed, and it hit the floor. And I closed my eyes as a little kid, and I laid my head down. And do you know what happened? The room was spinning. And you know what I began to realize at an early age? Is that my life wasn't normal. I wasn't like every other kid. I was the kid that would come to school as a freshman, and I get to school, and I didn't have the money I have now. And I get to school, and I had like the same jeans on like 3 days in a row, same shirt. My socks didn't match. And I get to school, and I sit in some assembly, listen to some speaker guy next to my friends or in homeroom, and you know what happened? My friends, so-called friends at school, they laugh at me, make fun of me. They say, Chad, what's the deal, bro? You've been wearing those clothes like 3 days like it was my choice, right? Can't you at least match your socks, Chad? It ain't that hard, is it? And I used to sit there and I'd look at these kids and I'd think to myself, man, if they only knew what I went through last night, if they could have just been in my house and saw what I saw the night before, you know what I saw? My mom comes stumbling through the front door of the house with her bottom row teeth knocked flat in her mouth. Her boyfriend, I'll never forget this guy, he's thumping my mom in the back of the head. Needless to say, I'd do what every young teenage boy in here would do. I was up till 4 a.m. fighting that boyfriend, trying to defend my mom from that beating. And sure, maybe I got to school the next day and my socks didn't match. But it wasn't by choice. It's because I was running out of the house early in the morning, slipping one sock on at a time to a boyfriend of my mom's that's cussing me out all the way to school. Are you kidding me? I'm supposed to be successful? Before Helen Keller died, do you know what happened? They asked her a question. They said, Helen, could there be anything worse in life than to be both blind and deaf? You can't stink and see, and you can't hear. That's what they asked her. You know what she said? She said, yeah. She said, there's something worse. She said, to be born with the ability to see, like you and I, and to have no vision or dreams for your life. Let me tell you something, students. This life can be tough, but let me tell you, every single one of you in this room, do you know what you have? You have talents and abilities that are unique to you. Don't you dare let some kid in this school that you're sitting next to dictate your future because you're feeling pressured by them. Let me tell you something. Every single one of you, when you leave here, you need to start being selfish in one area. You said, I'm not taught to be selfish, Chad. We did character counts. Listen, one area you need to be selfish. You know what it is? Every one of you. You need to be selfish on who you allow into your life. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Who you surround yourself with is who you eventually become. Every day in the United States of America, 1.3 million teenagers make a suicide plan. 250,000 kids carry a gun to school every single day. 64% of 13-year-olds are sexually active, according to the U.S. National Department of Health. Every 26 seconds, teenage girls rate 2,880 today. 1,100 teenage girls have an abortion every single day. 2,500 kids try a prescription pill for the first time every single day. It is an epidemic in America. If there's anybody in this room that understands the need to reach this generation, I understand it.